I wanted children so much in my life that my whole concentration is on them. A woman who is attractive, what is it for you, an attractive woman for you?
After dazzling at the Venice Film Festival, Sophia Loren had to have emergency surgery 2 weeks later. Her toilet fall was more than simply a slip. It was a catastrophic incident that resulted in several broken bones. When her agency stated that recuperation might take time, it seemed overly cautious. Since then, although she remained out of the public eye, bogus death rumors have been all over the internet. However, if you pay close attention to the video, you'll see how firmly she holds her walking stick. The lady who once claimed that age was merely a number has transformed. Under a veil of shame, Sophia Costanza Brigida Villani Ciccolone was born in Rome on September 20th, 1934. She was born in a hospital that wasn't typical. Unwed mothers were the target audience. That in itself made her birth a scandal in Catholic Italy in the 1930s. Romelda Villani, her mother, was a stunning woman who aspired to be an actress and was frequently likened to Greta Garbo. She was unable to conceal the fact that her daughter was born out of wedlock, despite her good looks and intelligence. For years, Sophia was accompanied by that label. There was even a reputation for the hospital. Society discreetly sends its fallen women there to give birth in secret. From the moment of her birth, Sophia's life was enmeshed in rumors and criticism. Riccardo Ciccolone Murillo, the man behind it all, didn't simply leave. He disappeared. For a while, he was employed for the National Railway. But more significantly, he was already married when he began seeing Romilda. He declined to marry her, or even stay after she became pregnant. Romilda and the infant were left on their own after he left. Sophia only had 3 encounters with her father. She did it once when she was 5 years old, once more when she was 17, and one final time in 1976 as he lay dying. The last encounter didn't last long. She expressed her forgiveness to him. However, she never forgot his actions. He didn't want to be involved in her life, even when she rose to become one of the most well-known actors in the world. Nevertheless, Sophia thereafter took an odd action. According to her, her father was descended from nobles. She used titles such as Viscountess of Pozzuoli and Marchioness of Licata to refer to herself in her autobiography. It made little difference if the assertions were true or not. It was a form of story rewriting. She transformed herself into a person with aristocratic blood rather than being the unwanted kid of an unfaithful father. She used it as a means of transforming suffering into pride. She said that her dignity derived from the same man who had rejected her. It was like placing a crown on a previously disregarded child's head. With Sophia, the suffering continued. Their father would not even sign her birth certificate when their younger sister, Maria, was born in 1938. Maria was therefore unable to legally claim his name. That decision's brutality left a lasting scar. After achieving success, Sophia spent her money on something more valuable than notoriety. For Maria to be officially recognized, she paid Riccardo. Although it was a low-key transaction, it was crucial. At last, Maria was able to bear the Ciccolone name. Sophia wasn't only filling out paperwork. She was taking this action to spare her sister from having to endure nasty jokes and constant reminders that their father had rejected her. The family had been pushed to the brink by the conclusion of the war. They had nothing when they returned to Pozzuoli. Luisa, Sophia's grandma, converted their living room into an unauthorized bar, selling cherry liquor that is manufactured at home. This was more than a side project. They survived because of it. Romilda was a pianist. Maria charmed patrons with her singing. Sophia scrubbed dishes and served tables. Even though she was just a teenager, she was already aware of what it meant to labor in order to survive. American servicemen, primarily GIs stationed nearby, began to flood the area. They brought stories from another planet, food, and money. One day in 1944, the war struck once more. When Allied planes bombed Pozzuoli, Sophia was 10 years old. A shrapnel fragment cut into her chin as people fled for cover. A lasting scar was left behind. Despite her survival, the trauma remained with her. She was unable to sleep in the dark, even as an adult. Although makeup professionals tried their best to conceal the scar during her acting career, she was constantly aware of its presence. Her face and spirit were shaped by that moment, that explosion, and that scar which remained with her. It provided her with a source of inspiration for poignant movie sequences, particularly when she portrayed women ripped apart by conflict. Because Pozzuoli was close to a military port and a munitions plant, it was bombarded regularly. The area was repeatedly targeted by planes. Every day, people lived in fear. Families fled to train tunnels, which were rat-infested, chilly, and dark, to hide as the bombs went off. Sophia spent a lot of her early years there, huddled in the dark, hoping the explosions would stop. Another source of anxiety was the adjacent volcano, Solfitara. People thought the whole area would explode if it was struck. Sophia spent 5 years living in continual fear, not just of war, but of total devastation. Her mother had had enough following the shrapnel incident. She fled to Naples with her 2 girls in tow. They abandoned everything. They had to plead with distant relatives for lodging once they arrived in the city. Not only was it uncomfortable, it was embarrassing. Everyone is fighting for their lives as several families are squeezed into small apartments. Sophia witnessed her mother sobbing as she begged for food and shelter. Watching her mother plead for help, the Oscar-winning kid was just another homeless child. The war ended in 1945, but the harm had already been done. They found their village in ruins. Jobs had disappeared. There wasn't much food. The illicit cherry liquor bar reopened. 11-year-old Sophia worked every day. She did whatever it took, including cleaning and serving. Hunger was an everyday issue. Dry bread was all they had at times. More evenings than she could remember, she went to bed hungry. Even so, she developed survival skills. She was surrounded by aggressive, boisterous, and inebriated adults, but she figured out how to deal with them. She would subsequently be able to handle agents, producers, and all the demands of celebrity thanks to her resilience. She was a shy, scrawny 14-year-old from a bombed-out village close to Naples. However, something changed when Sophia Ciccoloni entered that beauty pageant in 1950. Not even her real name was being used. She went under the name Sophia Lazzaro and donned the sash for the second-place candidate, Lazio. Despite everyone's low expectations, she managed to place in the top 3. They handed her something equally significant, even though she didn't win the primary title. 1950's Miss Elegance. The prize money that accompanied that title was what made all the difference. It provided a means of escape from poverty and a return to Rome for her and her mother, Romilda. For them, it was an escape rather than merely a spectacle. They had survived World War II bombing assaults only a few years prior. The scar on Sophia's chin was caused by one of those bombs. She used to get made fun of by her classmates. She was referred to as Toothpick. She was no longer a joke, though. That night, when she was wearing heels and hope, she was becoming well known. Everything altered once more in September 1951, a year later. She was only 16. His age was 37. She was seen at another competition by Carlo Ponti, a successful film producer who already had a wife and 2 children. Sitting at a table with friends in a restaurant close to the Colosseum, not even on stage, he was unable to look away from her. When he first asked her to compete, she declined. He therefore used a waitress to deliver a second letter. She said yes this time. Second place went to her. For Pont, that was sufficient. That same evening, he made her an offer of a 7-year film contract. It was for her career, he said. Years later, however, he acknowledged that he had sacrificed everything for Sophia's love. He had complete influence. He gave her advice on what to read, how to speak, and how to dress. He was forming more than a career. He was shaping someone. Her name was the first thing he altered. Sophia Ciccolone's voice seemed too authentic, too Italian, and too working class. He therefore created something more marketable, something that could be sold all over the world with the help of another producer, Goffredo Lombardo. A play on the Swedish actress Märta Thoran, Sophia Loren had a name that seemed elegant, global, and classic. She had previously used Sophia Lazzaro. Because her body could raise the dead, people made jokes about her name. However, she was now undergoing a whole rebranding. The Pozzuoli girl had vanished. Someone made for movies took her place. Hollywood began to call by 1956. Unusually for a foreign actress, Paramount Pictures offered her a 5-film contract. She had previously spent 6 years in the Italian film industry. This was her chance. The agreement paved the way for her to star in movies like Houseboat 1958 and The Pride and the Passion with Cary Grant and Frank Sinatra. The budget for one of those films was $3.07 million, which was a significant amount at the time. America quickly fell in love with her. She wasn't simply another European beauty. She was able to act and had presence. Pont was working behind the scenes to develop a persona as the world watched her develop on film. Marilyn Monroe was not Loren. She wasn't delicate or blonde. She was unabashedly sensual, bold, and dark-haired. Mirrored. She had issues because of her height in Boy on a Dolphin. To look taller, Alan Ladd had to stand in trenches. It didn't matter, though. People loved her. Her movies were profitable. She was also earning millions of dollars by the end of the 1950s, making her the highest-paid actress in Europe. Even if it meant breaking the law, Pont would stop at nothing to marry her. He set up his wife's covert divorce from Mexico and his proxy marriage to Loren in 1957. They did not go at all. They were replaced by two attorneys. They discovered their marriage through a newspaper article. Pont believed that the divorce from Mexico would be accepted. He was mistaken. It was rejected by Italy. An Italian court ruled their marriage unconstitutional in 1965. It was a legal catastrophe that cost thousands of dollars in fees and years of court fights. By 1962, the situation worsened. Italy accused them both of bigamy. They might have spent up to 5 years behind bars if found guilty. The charges were submitted by a random Milanese housewife named Lisa Zlambilla. She believed that public figures ought to answer for their actions. All at once, Loren and Ponti found themselves on the run in their own nation. They were forced to reside overseas. Later, Loren remarked, "We ought to have been on a honeymoon. But all I can recall is crying for hours." They did not find peace until 1966, by obtaining French citizenship after being personally authorized by the Prime Minister of France. Despite the anguish, Loren persisted. She played a character who tore open old scars in the 1960 film, Two Women. She had experienced the terror of bombardment, famine, and subterranean hiding before. She delved deeply into her memories to prepare for the part of Sisera, a mother attempting to protect her daughter at a time of conflict. Her mother's bravery, the dusty odor, and the terrifying evenings. Under Vittorio De Sica's direction, it turned into her most impactful performance. Then history happened. She took home the Best Actress Oscar on April 9, 1962. The Academy awarded the prize to a character in a non-English film for the first time. Her age was 27. She defeated icons like Natalie Wood and Audrey Hepburn. She did not attend the event at all. Too anxious to handle the attention, she stayed at home. It was Cary Grant who called her to break the news. A barrier that had existed since 1929 had been broken by her. She was more than simply a star in Italy. The star was her. Loren received 7 Best Actress David di Donatello awards. Nobody else is comparable. Her most recent victory came in 2020, while her first came in 1961, separated by about 60 years. At age 86, he achieved his final victory for the future. Her son was the director. She portrayed a survivor of the Holocaust. The audience believed her when she remarked that night, "I cannot live without cinema." However, her partnerships with Vittorio De Sica produced some of her best work. At the age of 20, he recognized something in her and cast her in The Gold of Naples. Her portrayal of a pizza vendor who loses her ring was brief, but memorable. Particularly in Two Women, De Sica assisted her in discovering emotional depth. They collaborated on Marriage Italian Style and Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow. Her truth was revealed by his directing, and their pictures helped to define the heyday of Italian cinema. Marcello Mastroianni came next. The screen was illuminated by their chemistry. They collaborated for the first time in 1954. Together, they'd produced over 10 films over the years. Loren famously remarked, "I never even read the script when I was offered a film with Marcello. I simply said, yes. He was never taught his lines. What am I supposed to say now?" He would ask when he arrived. However, it was successful. They had an electric charge. A special day, their last outstanding collaboration, revealed a new side. Pure connection, no romanticism. She was a weary homemaker. They were unforgettable because he was her gay neighbor. When Cary Grant fell deeply in love with Sophia Loren, he was 53 years old. She was only 23. In 1957, it took place on the set of The Pride and the Passion. It didn't seem to matter that Grant was already married to his third wife. Loren's youth, grace, and beauty drew him in. While filming in Spain, their affair began in secret. Everyone in the vicinity could see that Grant was in love. As the sun sank over the hills on their last night of filming, Grant appeared more solemn than normal. "Will you marry me?" he asked, turning to face her. Loren stopped. She later said that she forgot her lines since it felt like she was in a movie. Grant was serious. He advised her to get married first and work out the rest afterward. He wrote letters. He sent presents. It didn't matter, though. Carlo Ponti was Loren's choice. She claimed that Carrie was from a different planet. Grant was devastated by the rejection. He had promised to sacrifice all for her. However, she left. Despite the world's admiration for her beauty, Sophia Loren was secretly disintegrating on the inside. Her desire to become a mother had grown into an obsession by the time she aged 29. She would form strong bonds with young performers on film sets, keep them close, and maintain contact with them long after the shoot was over. Tragic events occurred, however, when she became pregnant during yesterday, today, and tomorrow. She miscarried after collapsing in agony while filming a vehicle sequence in Milan. She could still clearly recall the hospital's harsh lighting, white walls, and sterile odor. It occurred once more during the filming of More Than a Miracle 4 years later. Another miscarriage. Additionally, the doctor was unkind this time. He told her icily, "You'll never have a child." Sophia became quite depressed. Her spouse, Carlo Ponti, became so despondent that he was unable to work or even grin. According to Loren, she felt inadequate. Notoriety was meaningless. When she saw new mothers in the hospital, she felt jealous. With the exception of the one item she really desired, she had everything. She had not only married the man she had selected over Cary Grant. He served as her teacher, mentor, producer, and director. She was 22 years older than Carlo Ponti. She was only 15 when they first met. At the age of 37, he was already well known in Italian cinema. "I have an excellent eye for talent," he assured her. He wasn't mistaken either. In 1953, he took over and signed her. He selected her clothing. He picked out her scripts. Her manners, speech, and even the literature she read were all influenced by him. "I was never a whole woman without him," she subsequently acknowledged. To her, he became everything. Together, they produced 37 films in 56 years. He grew to control her. And his authority remained unaffected even when she rose to fame. That hold eventually relaxed when he passed away in 2007 at the age of 94. However, it had endured forever. Control wasn't the only factor. There was more to it. Later, Loren revealed what many had speculated. She viewed Pont as a father figure in addition to a husband. She had been abandoned by her own father. Without regard for her or her sister, he would come and go. She didn't actually have a father. She thus found refuge when she met Pont. She said, "I needed to be protected. He calmed me down." She was unable to select Cary Grant because of this. She wasn't looking for love. She required security. And Ponti provided her with that, notwithstanding the price. Despite its contentious beginning, their love survived for 42 years. In 1957, they were initially wed by proxy in Mexico. However, Ponti remained legally married because divorce was not recognized in Italy. Their marriage was ruled invalid by the courts. They left Italy after the Catholic Church threatened to excommunicate them. They became citizens of France after renouncing their citizenship. They remarried in 1966, this time legally. Carlo Jr. was born in 1968 and Eduardo was born in 1973. Threats, litigation, and scandals didn't destroy their marriage. Loren added, "You never get over this kind of feeling," after Pont's passing. When asked if she would ever be married again 2 years later, her response was definitive. No, never again. At the age of 86, Sophia Loren made her acting comeback in 2020 following a 10-year hiatus. Her son, Eduardo Ponti, directed the movie, which was titled The Life Ahead. It reached the top 10 in 37 countries and became a Netflix sensation. In the role of Madame Rosa, Loren portrayed a former prostitute and Holocaust survivor who looked after immigrant children in southern Italy. It was praised by critics. Rotten Tomatoes gave the movie a 92% rating. ARPE Best Actress Award and the David Di Donatello Award were among the many honors Loren received. The original song from the movie was nominated for an Oscar. It was a strong return for Loren. She demonstrated that age was irrelevant. She had always been talented. In 2024, 2 years later, she once again astounded everyone. She remarked, "I hope never to retire at 90. She denied to reporters that legacy was on her mind. She was considering her next film. Hollywood was rocked by her remarks. Despite her 75 years of performing, she continued to dream and remain hungry. Loren refused to slow down while others did. She expressed gratitude for being able to continue doing what she loved. Age was merely a number to her. She lived by a rule that was hidden underneath that spirit. No backup plan. She mentioned something few would dare utter in that same 2024 interview. She advised against having a backup plan. Since you have no other option, you solve problems when they arise. Her entire life was shaped by that concept, which originated from her difficult upbringing in war-torn Italy. In 1962, Sophia Loren, who was born in 1934, became the first female Oscar winner for a non-English role. She overcame grief, rejection, and missed roles, including a well-known one in Dynasty, thanks to her strong dedication. But she continued forward at all times, always on plan A. In 2018, rumors circulated that Loren was finished and had retired. They cited her prior hiatus in the 1980s when she chose to stay at home with her sons and the fact that she hadn't been in a major motion picture since 9. "I have 2 children, but I never see them," she had stated at the time. So she took a step back. Many people believed she had permanently retreated, but they were mistaken. Those speculations stopped when Life Ahead was released on Netflix. It wasn't retirement that kept her away. It was patience. A mother-son partnership that defied all the cliches was also exposed during that same return. The Life Ahead was the third and best project that Sophia and Eduardo worked on together. Loren claimed that she experienced a certain type of calm while working with him. "Until I give him my best," she remarked, "he doesn't let me stop. He is aware of which buttons to press." She had complete faith in him. Then he produced a movie that once again disproved detractors. She had one of her strongest performances to date at the age of 86. It was described as amazing by one critic. She wasn't doing her son any favors. It was a masterclass in acting and demonstrated that her passion, not nostalgia, was still burning brightly. They produced something everlasting together. 4 days after her 89th birthday on September 24, Sophia Loren collapsed in her Lake Geneva villa's toilet. It was a nasty fall. She had a severe femur fracture and a hip fracture. In the midst of what should have been a happy moment, everything happened so abruptly. She had just been seated in the first row at Giorgio Armani's display at the Venice Film Festival, looking stunning in an ivory pantsuit. She was now sent to urgent surgery. Recovery would take time, according to her agency, who also verified the operation went smoothly. She was forced to postpone the big launch of her 4th restaurant in Bari, Italy, that same week. During that surgery, doctors had to treat several fractures. It was among the worst health scares she had ever experienced. Her 2 kids, Eduardo and Carlo Jr., arrived right away. Carlo was 55, and 51-year-old Eduardo at the time. They remained by her side when she was in the Swiss hospital. This was a difficult adjustment for an actress who had maintained her strength and agility into her late 80s. Fans were cautioned by her agent that it would take months to recuperate. When she will leave the hospital was not discussed. This was obviously not another fall. It was a conflict. Additionally, the internet took a nasty action while Loren struggled to recover. The rumors began to circulate. Social media messages and websites started saying she was dead. They even claimed she had brain cancer in their fictitious obituaries. The lies spread more quickly than the truth, even though none of it was true. Before it was discovered, a phony tweet on her death had received over 50,000 shares in 2021. By the end of 2023, more false tales than authentic ones appeared in Google searches. people continued to spread the frauds despite the intervention of fact-checkers such as Reuters and Snopes. Researchers discovered that over 40% of online celebrity news originated from unverified sources. Then a wonderful thing occurred in May 2024. Loren reappeared in public. She had dinner at Cipriani on May 29th, Hollywood West. 8 months have passed since the fall. She was dressed in black pants, rose gold glasses, and a leopard print jacket. Her curls were groomed flawlessly. She appeared powerful, graceful, and vibrant. She held a stylishly ornamented black and white walking stick while grinning at the fans. Bedazzled is what her son termed it. That walking stick served as a symbol in addition to being a tool for balance. Sophia Loren was not going anywhere. She was returning to the world according to her own rules. Back in 2023, she acknowledged her followers just 3 days after her surgery. She expressed her gratitude to everyone for their love and closeness to her through her agent. "I've improved. I simply need to rest and complete my recuperation." Though brief, the message was impactful. Publicists weren't her shield. Even as she recovered, she exhibited grace. The same team that had revealed her fall, her restaurant team, also conveyed that message. It let the world know that she was only slowing down, not giving up. She was 90 in September 2024, and she didn't spend her last years in peace. A special supper for her was posted by 90-year-old Giorgio Armani. Loren looked radiant in a silver outfit that glittered and had diamonds around her neck, according to a video taken that evening. She covered her face in ecstatic surprise as the attendees shouted "Happy Birthday," and then she joined in the applause. Old black and white pictures of them together were shared by Armani. She leaned on his shoulder and kissed his cheek. The occasion was not only a birthday. It was an homage to beauty, survival, and a relationship that had endured for many years. It was more than simply a 90th birthday celebration. It was about overcoming suffering, grinning despite the wounds, and showing everyone that Sophia Loren was still a beautiful person.